Hey, Rudy,
Hey,
you know why you can't hear pterodactyls go to the bathroom?
no.
Because the P is silent. Oh, deja vu.
That's
Deja
even
vu
funny.
all over again. It's a Roller Out Girl Vintage Baseball podcast. We talk to vintage baseball players from coast to coast, border to border. We never get bored talking about other people and their balls. Uh, Rudy Frias is the co-host. Rudy, say something.
Hi, so good to see you.
Yes, I've been waiting seconds for this to happen again. Uh, Big episode tonight. An episode that I promised during the entire duration. We won't freeze once because there's no technology like old technology. And that's what we're using tonight. We're kicking it old school. I'm on my phone.
That's right.
uh, Rudy, who do we got in this week's episode?
The gems of Hamilton, Ohio, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm just Jim. He's Todd.
Gems, the like treasure. They're treasure of I want to welcome to the show the Mattingly Brothers. It's so good to see you, gentlemen. How are you tonight?
Fantastic. How are you
Great.
doing?
Yep. Good to be here. Thanks.
Sometimes when I talk to the Mattingleys for at least, I don't know, 10 minutes, I feel like those are conversations that are lost forever. And I just, there's just sometimes some things happen, but I'm not
It's
going to
amazing
bore
we got
them
through
saying,
school.
yeah. Uh, did you guys want to talk about a tornado? We didn't record that earlier, but we might as well just cover everything that we covered. You guys in Cincinnati and Columbus being the devil's anus. See, I can go back.
Thanks.
Are under a major weather situation today. What's going on? Let's ask Jim. Jim, what's going on with the weather in Cincinnati today?
Right now it's 70 and sunny.
That's
No,
wonderful. Todd, can you give us real answers? What's going on?
There might have been a small tornado. It missed us. Everybody else is fine.
Tornado watch in Cincinnati. Rudy had a tornado watch where everything bad always happens. If you step outside your front door in Columbus, something bad is happening. I suggest nobody lives there.
Todd latched on to me earlier. I said, "What the hell is going on?" He said, "Grab something heavy."
So I grabbed Jim.
So we're joined by the Mattingly brothers. We talked to these guys back at the Ohio Cup about being on the show. They said, I don't know. And we talked them into it, and here they are. It's the Colonel. It's Rabbit. It's Rabbit with one B. I don't understand. And we'll get to that later. Jim's older by 3 years, but they're twins. I think everybody that's close to them understands that. I don't get it.
It's amazing how often we will walk across a ball field and somebody be waving at me going, "Rabbit, hey, Rabbit."
You know it's because when we get to a certain age, we all look the same. I mean, once you're all white, and you guys are all white, you're the whitest people I've ever met. So yeah, you probably are mistaken for twins all the time, but there is a 3-year difference. So sorry I got to do this to you, Jim. I'm gonna do it. How did you come across vintage baseball?
My mom birthed me on a baseball field, and just to recap.
I hope this story involves cookies. Go ahead.
My wife took me up to Sharon Woods, where the Red Stockings and Buckeyes play in Sharonville, Ohio, and there's a great play where a guy was was called out at third by the umpire, and he stood up and said, "Sir, I believe I'm sorry." He was called safe by the umpire. He stood up and said, "Sir, I believe I was out." And then he walked off the field. And I thought, this is a good game for me. So called up my brother, and we called some pals and got a team together, and here we are
4 years later.
Sorry.
Yeah. In my research that I've done, I found out that you waited 4 years to actually start playing Finnish baseball.
Those bastards on the Red Stockings wouldn't happen.
So one thing that does show is back in the day, vintage baseball clubs, although the market hadn't been saturated with vintage baseball clubs yet, they didn't need people. And now they scream, cry, and moan because they don't have enough people. My, how the times have changed in the same time.
Right, it's crazy. I was on a waiting list, actually, for the Red Stockings for 4 years, which, kind of hurt my feelings a little bit after about year one.
Are you getting updates every year about how much higher you are on the waiting list?
We're getting closer. The line's getting shorter.
You get one email in January that said, "Nope, not yet."
Yeah. Yeah,
So
Bill
Todd,
Diekman just kind of ducks his head when he sees me.
You mean they don't call and ask you to play? Todd, so Jim goes to the game. He sees a game. He sees somebody getting called out, and the runner calls himself out, and he's excited about it because he knows, one, he's going to be out all the time, and two, he can be honest about it instead of having to lie. So he's excited about vintage baseball. Todd, you did not see that game. I'm sure you've heard about it over that 4-year stretch here or there. And then when the day comes where he's tired of waiting, I might have some of the facts on this wrong. He contacts you and is like, "Hey, let's do this vintage baseball thing." Do you actually witness a vintage baseball game before you actually play in a vintage baseball game?
Nope. Nope.
After you start playing vintage baseball, do you then see a vintage baseball game and say, "Oh, that's how I'm supposed to be doing it"?
Well, it was something like that. So he called me. He called me, and I didn't realize I'd been waiting for 4 years. So that was the beautiful part. It felt like no time had passed. And he calls me up one day. I went down and met him for lunch down in Milford, Ohio.
It's odd. He never met me before.
That's right. There's another story about that too. But so I met him in a park in Milford, Ohio, and we grabbed just a modern baseball out of the car. And it was October, November, something like that. It was cold.
Yeah.
And we stood out there in that park throwing the baseball back and forth barehanded, and we're like, "Oh, we can do this."
It turned out we couldn't.
I love that. I love that there's just that implicit trust between brothers that you're like, okay, he'd been seething for 4 years and you're getting in on the ground floor and you're like, sure, we can do this. Absolutely. So, and this continues our listeners out there, the dozens of you that
that's not
guests
true.
On the Roller Out the Barrel show who out of spite started their own vintage baseball club. And gentlemen, what was that first club you started?
We were the Norwood Highlanders out of Norwood, Ohio.
And you know, the thing, everyone knows this, and you gentlemen know it too. The thing that catches people's eye and when playing vintage baseball is the uniform. And to this day, your uniforms have rarely ever been matched. I mean, you got the Bay City Independents who have to mix it up because it takes away from their face, and that needs to happen. But we loved your uniforms. My gosh.
It was funny. We did have stopping power. You know, we played at a little park in the middle of Norwood, and we'd have people coming out on their porches watching. We'd have cars stopping, pulling over, come out and watch. It actually gained a couple of players because of standing out there in the park in the red and white.
And then we had the old lady across the street yelling at us because we were drinking beer in the park.
Yeah.
Oh, I've had that happen a few times.
Every park has an old lady across the street yelling at them for something. To give everybody a correct timeline, what was the first year of the Norwood Highlanders?
2010.
2010. Okay, so you start with the Norwood Highlanders. I don't know your guys' history, and we're about to find out the history, but I do know there's been a couple of club name changes recently. So I assume because you're close brothers that you've been on the same exact teams for the same amount of time. So what is the...
Although sometimes we sat at the opposite end of the bench.
That happens more often than not.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have to.
Rudy knows.
You're always tired of each other. So what's the timeline for the last 13 years of the clubs that you guys have played on?
So from 2010 to 2015, we were the Norwood Highlanders. We played at Doral Field, right in the middle of Norwood. Beautiful backdrop. The American Playing Card Company building was behind us. That was built in the late 1800s or something like that. But it got to the point where we were actually bringing our own lawnmowers, mowing the grass at a city park, so we could play baseball. Norwood kind of stopped taking care of us. So in 2016, we started our season up at Joyce Park in Hamilton, Ohio. And we were became the Black Bottom Nine. The significance there was that in 1869, in that part of Fairfield, Hamilton, was called Black Bottom because of the river soil. We found out when we played in Durham, Black Bottom means something completely different
In the South.
So
There's another story there.
There's another story there. But we became the Black Bottom Nine, and then 2 years ago?
Yes.
Yeah. We switched over to the Volunteers of the Ohio Ninth.
Yeah, our numbers were depleting, as were the New Richmond Generals. And we joined squads and tried to find a happy medium. We kept the 9, but started wearing the blue.
Apparently that's less impressive to Rudy.
Yeah, I know.
So what is because I always leave a word out, what is the official full-length name of the club that you have right now?
We are the Volunteers of the Ohio Ninth.
So there is no black
consensus, and come to a consensus on that name. We, the New Richmond guys were really wanted a Civil War tie-in, and we found out that there was a regiment in Cincinnati that was made up of German. Well, they were the Ohio Ninth, and they were made up of German beer guzzling volunteers.
Yes,
we thought that's us.
We fit right in.
Yeah,
we'll volunteer to drink beer anytime.
And you guys are in the Cincinnati area. How far out of Cincinnati would you say your home field is?
We're about 20 miles north of downtown Cincinnati.
Oh, nice. So you guys play at Sharonville all the time, don't you?
Oh, yeah,
sure.
That's a nice little place there in Sharonville. What are your favorite events that happen down there in your area? Not the ones you got to travel for, but the ones that are in your area that you, when the schedule comes out, you're like, yeah, that's I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, the Queen City Invitational was always a highlight until they couldn't do it. Sharon Woods took up 2 of their fields, let them overgrow with wildlife and whatever, and now they only have that one field in the village that they play on. But that was always a great event to take part in. And then, honestly, our Heart of Vintage Baseball tournament in October, we build all year to that one, and we have upwards of 9-10 clubs from our region in to play in it, and it's a great time, and try to close out the season with that one.
Jim, you are, I would say, a big Cincinnati Reds fan. Is that accurate?
What do you mean by big? Is that a weight thing? Are you picking on me?
No, what I mean by big is the team sucks, but you still will admit that you are a fan.
That's right. Yeah, I've been a Reds fan since I was 5 years old and knew what baseball was, and I'll die a Reds fan. I bleed red, believe it or not.
What?
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Todd, are you a Reds fan? I can't tell by your Facebook pictures. But are you a Reds fan as well?
I am a Reds fan as well. Absolutely.
Okay, well, you see, so I don't have to hide my shame, the fact that I'm a Tigers fan. We're all in the same.
Welcome aboard. Yeah.
We're all in the same situation. So I did go down to a Cincinnati Reds game last year.
On purpose?
I did. Absolutely on purpose. And I will tell you, and I'm not afraid. I am not afraid to praise the Cincinnati Reds organization right now. Something you haven't heard in a long time, I'm sure. But here, let me give it to you. We had an episode with Jacqueline Cox, a friend of yours, the Sausage Queen. And
Yep.
Did you know that there's no more Sausage Queens happening? Have you heard?
I did not hear that. No.
There is no more Sausage Queen. So you might want to talk to Jacqueline about that. But anyway.
So did she end as the reigning Sausage Queen?
No. No, many Sausage Queens after her. Well, not many, but a few.
She'll always be. I don't know what that means.
So she did such a fine job in our episode of talking about the Cincinnati Reds and the museum and everything. So I think that inspired me to head down. So I did some play-by-play at Sharonville to start out the season last year, and then I went to a Reds game. That museum that is next to the stadium is amazing. I have not been to every major league stadium, but I bet you there's nothing as good as that at any other major league baseball stadium. That is such an amazing place. The surrounding area outside of the stadium makes you feel like you're in the ballpark, even though you have not walked through the gate yet. It is such a great area to watch a ball game in that stadium where you're closer, the seats kind of go up instead of back. It's such a great atmosphere. It's one of the best stadiums I've ever been in, and after I've gone to all of them, I will be able to place it in my top whatever. But I like Comerica Park a lot. It's better than Comerica Park. It's better to watch a baseball game. It's the best stadium I've ever watched a baseball game in. And you guys being baseball fans of a certain age, I'm sure you've been to some other stadiums. I'm going to let you talk biasly about that stadium. Do you guys feel the same way about that stadium?
Yeah, absolutely. Not only is it kind of the cozy confines of great American ballpark, a perfectly named stadium, but it's got the river in the out, as a view in the outfield. Every seat faces inward. It's weird. You can see the whole game, but it is that like the nostalgia kind of permeates throughout. We've got a tile mosaic of the original 9 from the Red Stockings in there, which kind of harkens back to the Union Terminal mosaics that they have in our Union Terminal, which is the museum now. It's a fantastic representation of Cincinnati and of baseball, and just a great place to watch a game.
Yeah, I'm absolutely going back there this summer to watch a game. And the good thing for me is I don't have to root for the Reds, even though I always root for who's ever home at the stadium I go to. I mean, you guys have been so bad that you think Joey Votto is good. That's how bad the Reds have been.
We don't think he's good anymore.
Well,
Wow.
So I'll be down there. I know your friend Jacqueline. She bartends in that highfalutin bar that I I did not go into. I felt more comfortable having a beer and barbecue down in the lower common people area, but I probably couldn't afford a tip. Who knows? But I will be down in Cincinnati just for some fun this summer. Can't wait. Why don't you guys, and we'll start with Jim, older brother, seniority. I want to know
Is that Spanish?
what famous?
Yeah.
You guys being 3 years apart. So Jim, when you're a child, you start playing baseball and everything before Todd does, barely. What does baseball look like in your neighborhood when you're growing up?
So yeah, well, I'm 5 years old playing ball. As most of our dads are, probably wind up being our coach. Playing behind the schoolyard, but we moved around a lot. One of the highlights of that is we actually lived in Clarksville, Indiana for a while in an apartment complex, and there was a little blank field, the sandlot scenario. And we go out there, Todd and I, Tom, our other brother, and some other kids from the neighborhood, and we take whatever we had out there. We had a Nerf football that the dog chewed the ends off of. That was almost round, and we played ball out in that little lot until we got called to come home for dinner. We just played ball all the time and had a good time doing it with whatever we had, whenever we could do it.
Todd, you were probably hanging around guys in the neighborhood playing ball until you could actually play ball. What are your memories of ball in your neighborhood before you could actually play?
So yeah, I followed Jim around and along with other brother Tom, who's sitting on the other side of the iPad here.
He's waving.
Yeah, we followed Jim around. He played baseball everywhere we lived, but in between baseball games, it was wiffle ball in the backyard, softball in the backyard, whatever it was, ghost runners. We had the Johnny Bench batter up. We had the Pete Rose pitch back. We had all of those things.
Yes.
Yeah.
If the dog grabbed the ball, it was now.
That's right. Yeah. So, and at one point we moved to Arizona, and that's when I started playing ball. And what's funny is, to me, as an adult, I coached my son in T-ball. He started playing T-ball when he was 5. In Arizona, you start playing T-ball when you're 8. So all these,
wow.
We didn't know any better. We were all these giant kids hitting the ball off tee, and then fast forward 40 years, and I'm watching my kid at 5 years old doing the same thing.
Todd, is there anything more frustrating than coaching your son at 5 years old in T-ball?
I loved every second of it. I coached him in T-ball and coach pitch, and T-ball was by far my favorite time to coach. I loved every second of that.
Oh my God, I had such a different. Rudy, are you going to get Javi involved in T-ball?
No, we're gonna do more interpretive dance, and like
I can't wait with the ribbon.
Yeah. We did T-ball this past summer. You don't coach T-ball, you herd T-ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
we true.
I would bribe him with Big League Chew and Bazooka Joe gum. I'd be like, "Hey man, I got your gum for you. Come on out here." And he'd stand there, chew gum.
You treated him like a dog. Yeah. He's not a dog.
Well, he did a great job of fetching. They were all right after that ball. So,
hey, when I coached T-ball, I'd set the field up in pie slices, and each group of kids had their pie slice, and they were not allowed to go outside the pie slice.
Heck yeah.
What happened inside that?
Yeah, free for all. Bodies everywhere.
But eventually it started to kind of maybe sort of look like something resembling baseball.
Yeah, exactly.
So the kid in right field's filling his glove with ants.
That's right.
Todd, give me your worst parent of a kid on your team altercation story.
So I never had an altercation, but I made the mistake one time of sending out a email where all of the emails were published. I didn't blind copy everybody, and there was one father.
Oh no!
Yeah. He was.
I know now.
His kid on the team. His name was Slushy, and Slushy's dad would he got a hold of that distribution list, and he started sending out his basically Amway, trying to sell everybody on the ball team on whatever get rich quick scheme he was working on at the time. And I finally had to call him. I said, "You got to stop. Can't do it anymore."
Wow. Awkward.
So how much involved into Amway did you get?
I'm still paying.
How good was his kid?
Oh, he was terrible.
Oh, then you didn't care about the Amway.
If you've ever seen the Brian Regan bit about the snow cones,
yeah, I was about to say
that was
Slushy.
All he cared about was the Slushy at the end.
You don't really hear a lot of slushies with athletic prowess there, buddy.
Brian Regan, so good. So you guys come up. Do you guys get involved in any organized baseball? We'll start with Jim. What's your career in organized baseball throughout your childhood up until your adulthood?
So I started at 5 years old, kindergarten, playing. We never, I'm old enough that we never had t-ball. It was a coach pitch, and played on up through high school.
A lot changed in that 3 years.
But played on up through.
They invented the T.
Yeah.
They also invented the car during this time.
Yeah.
No more taking horses to practice.
So I actually played vintage baseball before it was vintage. No.
They just called it baseball.
We just called it baseball.
Every form of ball you played is vintage.
Yeah,
So
get
you
up
were-
to high school. I couldn't hit a curveball by senior year, and then was done with that. Never went to college for it. But played softball off and on. Good teams, bad teams, until I discovered the vintage league.
So you probably have played softball for quite a few years. Give me a good softball brawling story you were involved in.
Well, honestly, what's crazy is softball, when I was coming through, was relatively tame. It started getting animated about 2005 to 2010. And that's when I was lucky enough to find vintage. I was like, enough of this shit. I jumped in, down here in Ohio, in Cincinnati region, tri-state region. It's a very social game. And I really enjoyed that. It was like playing backyard pickup game almost, but you're wearing vintage uniforms.
You were saying, Jim, at the end, before you found vintage at the end is when it started changing the softball. What was changing? What was getting under your skin about softball at the end of your playing days?
You couldn't get up to bat without somebody jabbering. And then, you got the pitcher on the mound doing 20 fake pitches before he pitches. And they're all wearing uniforms that look like motocross racers, patches all over, whatever else. Every little thing, every call, every play, everything was argued. It's like, God, enough. And I was totally lucky to luck into the vintage baseball system.
I wasn't talking about women's softball. I was talking about men's softball.
Wait, what about women?
I only say that because I had terrible experiences around women's softball, and that actually everything you just said about men's softball that actually happens with the women too. I just thought it was important to point out equal rights.
Todd,
Equal
Todd,
rights.
did Jim ever pull you into softball?
He did. Absolutely. We played out at
Rumpke
Fields, out in I don't know, was that at Ross, Cleves, something like that. Yeah, played at Rumpke. We played at Tri-State, something, I don't know. But we played in a couple of different leagues in 2 different parts of town for a little while, and then I married somebody, and that all ended for me. And I'm not married to her anymore, but I'm playing baseball.
There you go.
Speaking of marriage, you guys and your brother on the other side of the iPad there, you're all very close, obviously. Well,
he's about 8 feet away. Todd and I are close.
Yeah.
Are all your marriages? Are all 3 of you married?
Yes.
So are your wives like best friends?
Mine's not.
So Tom's wife's name is Jonathan. But
yeah,
our wives and Tom's husband are best friends.
Yeah, they don't get along. Yes.
Are your wives very involved in the vintage baseball?
Let's go with spouses.
Yeah.
I think he meant Jim and Todd. Tom could stay on the other side of the iPad. I'm joking.
Oh, sorry, Tom. He is pointing at you guys. With a certain.
Wait a second. Does Tom play? Wait a second. Does Tom play? That's serious. Like, do you ever bring Tom in?
He doesn't play, but he does come to games. Yeah.
Okay. He's the smart one. Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Barrel Roller and I have a theme going where we want to get an episode of this podcast where it's the wives of vintage baseball players. And because there's one thing my wife likes more than vintage baseball, and it's not watching vintage baseball. So like, are your guys' wives, like, do they enjoy it?
My wife doesn't come to a game ever. No, she would rather be thrift shopping or treasure hunting, whatever, doing anything but coming to one of my games. Yeah.
Nice.
My wife, on the other hand, I met her when I was coaching T-ball. Her 4-year-old son was on my ball team. And so, years later, after we were both divorced, we ended up getting hooked up, but she both of her boys played baseball through middle school, high school, and all that. So she kind of lived on the ball field her whole life.
Oh.
So she comes to just about all of our games.
Nice.
Yeah, Rudy's wife wishes she could forget everything about vintage baseball. My wife's kind of on the fence. My wife's a fencer. She's I could live with it. I could live without it. Whatever. She gets bored easy though. So there's been many a vintage baseball game my wife has fallen asleep during. So
well, see, that's what my wife misses about vintage baseball. She misses the sitting in the shade and drinking and kind of falling asleep for an inning and a half and then waking back up. That's what she misses. But now that she has to like wrangle children, and it's not really her thing.
Right, and that's where we fell in. My wife actually is. I don't know if I mentioned it in round 2 of the intro, but she actually introduced me to the game, which means she kind of created the Black Bottom 9, the Ohio vintage. What are we now? I forget.
I don't know.
Yeah,
but it took 4 years.
Yeah. One of their brothers says, "Have more bourbon." But yeah, she'd rather sit.
Does she hold that over your head ever?
That's her free time.
Oh, okay.
What's that?
So she's done her part. She never holds that over your head, and she's like, "This wouldn't exist if it weren't for me." Okay, good.
Not at all. No.
Good.
all right, gents, we're going to take a 2-minute break for a new segment. We're going to take a sports break here with Jonathan Macklin. But when we get back from this break, we're going to talk to the Mattingly brothers about Pete Rose and hear from Red fans about Pete Rose situation. It never gets old. It will never be old. But for now, let me have you guys listen to this.
This is your Roller Out the Barrel news break for Friday, September 17th, 1869. I'm Jonathan McLean. State line, Baltimore. The Maryland Baseball Club faced off with the visiting National Baseball Club of Washington. They squared off at the Madison Avenue grounds with several hundred people in attendance. The visiting squad, in the early stages of a road trip, won the coin toss and elected to field first. This would prove disastrous, as the Marylanders put up 13 runs in the first 3 innings and whitewashed their opponents from the Capitol in the first 2. Solid defensive plays by the Marylanders included a running, one-handed, foul-bound catch by their center fielder. This reporter questioned the logistics of the field. Offensively, the Maryland club hit soundly, including a home run made by Mr. Worthington, the third baseman. Not to be outdone, the Nationals scored 3 runs in the 6th inning, all on passed balls due to the Baltimorean catcher, Mr. Lennon, playing too close to the striker. The umpire was Mr. Sears of the Pastime Baseball Club. He was deemed impartial, but not strict enough, as the Nationals pitcher was delivering some very bad balls. The game included sharp fielding and hitting on both sides, but was altogether seen as being not exciting or close. Final score, Maryland Baseball Club 23, National Baseball Club 12. The Marylanders will next play the Pastime, while the Nationals travel to Philadelphia to play the Keystone Baseball Club. In other news, the mosquitoes of Alaska are most agreeable insects. They distill a delicate aroma when they bite, which has the anesthetic effect of chloroform, and their bite is not venomous. The tired traveler courts their music as a presage of a good night's rest. Mr. Seward was so pleased with this product of Alaska that he took pains to have some specimens sent to the patent office in Washington. But, as is often said, as far as I'm concerned, progress peaked with frozen pizza. I'm Jonathan McLean, and this has been your Roller Out the Barrel news break.
All right, that was Jonathan McLean. New segment, Roller Out the Barrel sports break, and we'll be having that for as long as he doesn't get bored doing it. If you listen closely, go back, rewind, listen again. You might come across some Bruce Willis Easter eggs in there. I'm just saying. The most egregious of them was the very last line of the whole thing. Rudy, what'd you think?
That is brilliant. I feel like it's making this a more legitimate podcast, honestly. So
we have the Mattingleys on. How legitimate can we get?
We were filling our bourbon.
Yeah, we were getting more bourbon.
I know. It was like we were all listening intently while we were refilling. So.
Okay, so let me ask you guys, and thanks for being such a good sports, by the way. I had a feeling you guys would be able to take it and give it just as well. So thanks for being so great to deal with. But let me ask you this. Pete Rose, what the hell?
Who do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Let's have Todd go first on this one.
There's one rule. He broke it. You're out. Sorry. You did all those things. It was great. But you broke the rule. You don't get to be in.
Do you feel the same way about Joe Jackson?
No. Because that rule was made after. I'm sorry, Todd.
Damn it, Jim, we're talking to Todd.
That rule was made because of Joe Jackson, not while he was playing.
Yeah. Yeah, Pete,
Pete's his own worst enemy.
He is. He really is. He, the things posted in every clubhouse worldwide, and he knew it. He did it. It's a permanent ban, not a lifetime ban. People get that confused. everybody says lifetime ban. Oh, when Pete dies, he'll go in the Hall of Fame. No, it's a permanent ban.
Yeah.
And he broke it. He knew he broke it. Sorry, you don't get to be in.
Yep.
Would you guys
Thanks for your
agree
time.
that he's
Love watching you
probably
play.
would you guys agree that he is probably going to get in, but not until after he is dead?
No,
He's never going to get in.
I don't think he'll get in.
Is your viewpoints on this the popular opinion amongst Cincinnati Red fans?
No.
Yeah, I could have told you that.
Not at all.
I was-
we are Pete Rose fans. We grew up loving the Big Red Machine. We're definitely Pete Rose fans. But he knew what he did. I don't know that anybody's ever asked Pete if he thinks he should be in. I bet he'd say no.
I mean,
You
I kind of
think
get
Pete
it.
Rose would say no. There's no way Pete Rose says no.
I'm sure. As a lover of the game, as a spokesperson, I mean, he is as good a spokesperson for the game of baseball as anybody. He's got to know he caused his own demise. And yeah,
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he would love to be in. I would think he would never get in.
Let me ask you about that old Riverfront Stadium. That was the name of it, right? Before Great American Ballpark, there was the cookie cutter Riverfront.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was it a giant piece of crap?
Yes.
But it was our piece of crap.
That's right.
That's right. We feel the same. We feel the same way about Tiger Stadium. What a piece of crap, but we loved it. And you guys had some nasty artificial turf in that Riverfront Stadium, didn't you?
Well, yeah, it was AstroTurf on concrete.
Yeah.
There wasn't a whole lot in between.
No, it was followed by what? St. Louis and Pittsburgh all had identical stadiums almost.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah, so when they started building Great American, they pulled up the turf and they actually turned it to grass for 2 seasons, a couple seasons.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna do an about face, and we're gonna get back into vintage. You guys, do you guys run the volunteers of the Ohio 9 together, or is just one of you in charge?
We did.
Yes. You were smart. You got out.
Yeah, we got the 10 years in, and I kind of tried to duck out, and then me and Todd talked me into we both were going to do it, and we ran it for the next couple of years, and then once we kind of had to, like I said, we joined with the New Richmond guys. We ran it for one more year and jumped out after that. It was a good time, kind of like baseball with their big bases and their time limits and whatever else. There's a new generation that needs to step in and maybe take this over.
Yeah, there's
So
there's
you guys
a lot
are still
of
playing,
cars that need to be taken care of,
and we're
while
good
somebody
at that.
else runs the team.
Yeah.
Nice.
boy. You guys sound like bitter baseball fans. Did you want to talk about the clock and the big bases? We'll get to it. We're going to get to the clock and the big bases. But what I want to ask you is, the Volunteers are 1864. Am I right on that? That's the rule set you guys play?
Well, 65. I guess,
yeah, 1865.
65.
Yeah.
What are the differences between 64 and 65?
I think it's the shoe styles. We honestly, I couldn't tell you the difference between this and that.
There was one more stitch on the baseball.
Between 69 and 60, between long pants and knickers, between
Can't say knickers.
I'm sorry. So we again we play a very social game down here, and it's a fly game. We play fly rules.
Yep, that's
with
it.
some addendums.
but it's a fly game, which so anytime the Capitals can travel down there, we always enjoy it because we get to play fly games finally. So I mean, and I love the description, a social game. It like some of our most fun games are down there because it's literally just we're just hanging out. We don't care anything about the score. Like I think the last time we were down there in your area was Sharonville with the Buckeyes and the Red Stockings, and it had all the trappings of a game where people should have been like angry and elevated because it was so close. It was a back and forth game. It was the most jovial, fun time we've had, and we
don't want to play that kind of baseball. We want to have fun.
Yes,
it's competitive. And while we're on the field, we're competitive, but between innings, after the game, it's all about the fun. It's all about the camaraderie.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll miss a play because we're talking to the guy. I'm playing third. I'm talking to the guy on third base, and the ball goes by us.
Yeah,
that'll happen.
We are notorious for having conversations on the base paths, and we're like, oh wait, what? I was supposed to go. Sorry, I was having a conversation. Yeah. One thing I did want to ask about is I really like the social media stuff. Well, basically just any of the graphic design stuff you're putting out. You've been put out. Like I really loved it. It was top notch. Where were you going? How were you getting that stuff?
Oh, that's all me.
Boom.
Totally.
So
that's all Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
I couldn't draw a straight line.
He couldn't walk a straight line right now.
Yeah. More bourbon. That'll help. No, because it's dangerous in the community when you have a talent and a gift. Like a lot of people will reach out to you, and the quality of the work is amazing. I've loved all of the designs.
Why I stopped doing porn.
Were you getting input on that from your brother, the team, or was it all they did just give you the creative license to go?
So, for a long time, it was me and Todd's team basically, and we kind of ran the team.
Yeah.
So I'm a creative director by trade, and I design all the stuff. A lot of stuff I'd run by Todd first. Hey, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
And then we put it up, but it over 15 years you start doing different, as we do our Heart of Vintage, as we do our logo, or you start running out of ideas.
There are only so many mustaches and handlebar mustaches, and
yeah.
I understand.
And then you discover that other teams in other parts of the country have stolen your artwork.
Oh, that happens a lot.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah. I'd see a posting from a team in Prescott, and it's my poster that I put up for some event we had at Ward Hall in Kentucky.
Hey, that's not cool. Stop it. Oh
yeah,
no.
So,
I mean, I don't know if you.
Hey, how about them red?
Yeah.
Wow, that's wild. I didn't even think about that. Hey, go ahead, Barrel.
Go ahead, Rudy.
No, you.
Silence. We done? What happened?
No, we started asking questions at the same time. We're supposed to be professionals. Sorry, Rudy.
It's okay. So let me ask you guys this question.
Okay, we go back to the beginning where Jim said that he saw a vintage baseball game. He saw somebody call themselves out, the gentlemanly aspect of the vintage game. So I assume that when you play the 9, you get a lot of that. But let me ask you this. I have always said that even the most gentlemanly teams want to win. It's a man thing. It's inbred in us. It's in our genes. We want to win. You guys play a social game. You have admitted to forgetting what the hell's going on during the game because you're not paying attention. But you want to win, right?
Yeah, that's totally accurate. I think, and I think that's with all the teams in our region as well. You know, we want to win. We're setting our teams up to succeed. We have a good time while we play. We want to win. If we don't, we're still going to drink a beer and have a hot dog after the game. You know,
But that's typically when Jim and I are at opposite ends of the bench.
You know, with you guys
Right
being
around there,
brothers,
about the same thing when we're losing.
with you guys being brothers and you're obviously close, I'm going to go ahead and assume there's going to be an answer to this question. Do you guys remember a highlight of your brother while you were in a vintage baseball game? Do you remember something your brother did that you were watching that you thought was really cool or special?
Nope.
Oh, the pause. Great comedic timing. Do you guys have a favorite club or place that you guys really look forward to?
I'll take this one. So I will tell you that we're in our 14th season. The Columbus Capitals are our high water mark. They are our benchmark.
Stop.
Rudy's shaking his head.
Yeah.
He knows I've told him this before.
Yeah. We've been playing them for 14 seasons. We've beat them twice.
I remember both times.
That,
but we have so much fun.
The thing is, you play the Capitals, you know you're going to get your asses kicked, but you're going to have a good time doing it.
That's right. It's the best ass kicking you're ever going to get.
Yeah.
Let's talk about those 2 games you won. Let's talk about the 2 games you won. Rudy, what the hell happened on those 2 games?
we like having a good time.
One of them, he was on the microphone with you.
Yeah, I was about to say you witnessed one. I was about to say, do you want to know what a game is like? You saw it at the Ohio Cup, and like it's rare where you lose, and I'm probably speaking in the minority here, but there's only been a few times where I've lost, and I've been genuinely happy for the other team because it was such a good game. Like, they walked us off at the Ohio Cup. It was great. It was like, it's what every little kid dreams of, getting up there and hitting the game-winning run-in and winning the game. It was a good time. We like to laugh. We like to have a good time. And you saw that, Barrel Roller.
I think
so
they
what
still
you're saying is what you're saying is everybody can go back in the Roller Out the Barrel archives and listen to the play call of the Columbus Capitals getting walked off by the Volunteers. Is this true?
Not only could you listen to it, you can go to the YouTube channel and watch the game.
Oh.
Wait, what? We didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. It was the very first video on the YouTube channel, and just go to the Roller Out the Barrel Show YouTube page, and it's all the way at the bottom. It has like 80 views.
And,
How many of them were you?
It's me just going back like we made a mistake there, right there.
Yeah, it's got the play call on it and everything. So
Frickin' Ian.
So I've seen that. Hey, we're gonna get you guys out of here in a minute. We really appreciate you guys coming on the show. You guys are great fun. I wish I had 14 years of experience being around you guys like Rudy does, so I'm pretty jealous. We do this segment at the end called Giving You the Old Pepper. I don't know if you've listened to any episodes of this ridiculous podcast, but at the end, we ask the guests.
Oh, this is episode 1?
This is the inaugural
episode 182 of this nonsense. But so I'm going to give you the old pepper, and we're just going to go back and forth. We're going to start with Jim. We're going to go back and forth on these questions. And these are just rapid fire questions with rapid fire answers. And And then at the end, we're going to ask you for your Mount Rushmore of favorite Cincinnati Reds players, and we're going to find out if they're actually different from each other. So that'll be something you can be thinking about in the meantime. But for now, let me find the correct imaging. All right, here we go. Starting with Jim. Jim, is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
Todd, what is the rudest animal?
Warthog.
Did you say a warthog?
I did.
Jim, what's your favorite cheese?
Was that wrong? Wait.
No, there are no wrong answers. I was just thinking about it. I was taking a second and actually thinking about it instead of just reading these questions like I should be. I'll think about it later. Jim, what's your favorite cheese?
Swiss.
Really?
Todd, what's the strangest place that you've pooped?
It was the hey Tom, what was that joint in New York City?
Windsor Castle.
Windsor Castle.
Jim,
Francis Tavern.
All right, Jim, let's pretend that peanut butter was not called peanut butter. What would it be named?
Bushy goodness.
Todd, how many chickens would it take to kill an elephant?
11.
Jim, do you put your toilet paper over the roll or under the roll?
Over. Always over.
Todd,
You're cooler than mullets.
I'm so afraid to ask this one. Why did I write this one down? Todd, if you had a body part you could detach, which one would it be?
Pinky toe. It's worthless.
Jim, what's one of your favorite smells?
Tobacco barn.
Todd, do aliens exist?
Oh, absolutely.
Jim, have you ever been in a car crash?
Yes.
Was it Todd's
With our
fault?
brother over here. Right. He hit his head on the windshield.
That explains. Todd, if you could have one condiment come out of your belly button all the time, which one would it be?
Oh, it's mustard.
A mustard belly button. And now we're going to circle back around and get your guys' Mount Rushmore favorite Cincinnati Reds players, and we're going to see how close they are, being 3-year apart twins. Jim, your Mount Rushmore of favorite Reds players.
Johnny Bench. Ted Kluszewski. Ernie Lombardi. And Chris Sabo.
Some of those names come from a definite fanatic of the team. Todd, what would yours be?
Johnny Bench. Brandon Phillips.
Oh,
Ooh.
Would have to be Pete Rose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I said it. And Joe Nuxall.
so they're not, your Mount Rushmores aren't anything like, so that's cool. How many games a year do you two attend at the Great American Ballpark together every year?
Lately?
Yes. Like last year, 2022. How many games did you go to together? Are you upset or
we used to go quite a bit when it was fun.
Yeah.
If they got good again, would you go?
Yeah, seriously. Absolutely. I'll go this year if I get tickets from somebody.
You can get tickets. When I went to my game, there was a young gentleman in the 5th story of a building across the street just throwing tickets onto the street. So that's how I got in. Thank you guys for joining us. Rudy, this is the time where you get to really lay it on thick. Tell these guys thank you and stuff. Go ahead.
Oh my oh my gosh. Well,
I'm gonna get my phone out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, let's
Let me get a Kleenex.
let's take another drink.
I want to
Wait, we didn't drink with him.
Oh, right, here you go. There you go, guys. Here you
I want to hear the tinfoil thing again. Wait a minute.
go. Oh, this has been a treat, honestly. As someone who has grown up playing baseball with my brothers and then playing vintage baseball with my brothers, I know what a special time that is and what a special bond is created. From the moment we took the field with you gentlemen in 2010, we knew that you were our kind of people, and we really, I say it at the end of every match, but honestly, it is a genuine pleasure to just be on the same field with y'all, because we feel like you get it, and you not only do you get it, you help it grow, and that's what happens. And you've created something special in the community through your hard work, and you deserve the time off from not running the team. I'm so proud of y'all for being able to step away. I am severely jealous of you. But and also, you know what? Thank you so much for joining us. I want you guys to come back. I want more, because I feel like the southwestern part of the state is just this like hidden little like nook of the community that really has some amazing things going on, and I think it needs to be expanded, not for individual invites, but they need to know about it. I love what's happening down there with the heart of vintage baseball and everything you're doing. And I can't thank you enough for being here today and giving all your time and attention to the community.
Well, I'll tell you what. The next time we do this, we'll bring school teacher from the Rising Sun Bell Rivers,
And you guys won't have to talk
and
at
nobody
all.
will have to say anything.
We'll just sit here and drink.
Yeah. But thank you. It's been a pleasure, and it's always fun to come up against you guys. And we know it's going to be a fun game. It's going to be a good game. We're likely going to get our asses kicked.
Oh,
But it's the best ass chewing we're ever going to get.
you know what?
Yeah,
And I also want to take some time to recognize Tom. Tom, thank you for allowing us to enter your home and this evening, and thank you for supplying the bourbon.
I expect bourbon in the mail.
Deal. Oh, do you want me to get us out of here, Barrel Roller?
Daryl, thank you very much.
Yep.
We appreciate you guys asking us to be on. This has been a pleasure. We listen to your podcast regularly, not often, but regularly. And but
I'll take
we do
it.
enjoy, and we look forward to seeing you all again.
There's two less listeners tonight.
All right.
Yeah.
You guys are going to get this link in a little bit, and you can share it with your friend. And we'll share it with all of our
Did you say
friends.
Lincoln?
We probably won't.
We like Lincoln.
For
I'm gonna share
For
with
the
like
Barrel
11
Roller,
people.
I'm the Swamp Fox. Thank you to Colonel and the Rabbit. We want to say keep it station to station, and we'll see you out in the field.
Huzzah.
Huzzah!
The P is silent.